It's Friday. It's 4 o'clock. I'm being a bit casual this week, a bit tousled. How are we? Hope you've had a very good week. Hello, podcasters. Hope all is well. All is well. There's lots of stories this week, so it's been packed. We've had to throw bits out, but some very quick ones I wanted to mention was I'm losing my hair, actually. No, all from the drugs, right? And talking about someone who's lost his hair, William, our chalk billiard ball of a prince, nothing to do with drugs, no. But William is looking at fusion, wasn't he, today? Is that right? Yeah. There you go. So fusion may be on the path, a royal path. And, of course, the big news this week was that Harry's got a ginger beard. And it was wiggled by a little kid in Australia. And he's also going to be a dad again. So there you go. Congratulations all around. Podcasters, do make sure that you watch this as well. I know you're listening, but watch it because there's some fun bits coming up. Our letter of the week, Roberto. It's for Robert. It's the R. R, which is Robert's normal greeting for anything. R. I and R. But R is I. Okay, let's start with the story of the week, and it is this, VAT. Oh, yes, those three dreaded letters. So Energy UK, if you don't know who they are, they're the talking body, the trade body for the energy sector. Pri went along to the conference. Well done, Pri, by the way, of making it on social media in that little picture, because you were like scribbling away, and I said, oh, look, there's Pri. You were tweeting, anyway. Energy UK, and Pri will do a bit more of this, their conference, they said VAT should be removed from energy bills and energy efficiency measures. Now, why? So they basically said the Chancellor obviously has got his budget coming up pretty soon, and what they said was if you got rid of VAT on energy bills, that would save the average person 60 quid. Okay, 60 quid on your bill. It also says that since 2012, the amount of investment has dropped from 2012 to 2015 by 53% in energy efficiency. Staggering. So what's going on? They say we should be doing things more like green mortgages to help people sort of improve their efficiency. So the more you have energy efficiency, your mortgage is cheaper rate, all of that sort of stuff. They're looking at obviously cutting VAT. They're talking about incentives to help businesses as well improve energy efficiency. Now, sometimes Energy UK, and I like Lawrence very, very much, who's the CEO. I sometimes do wonder what it does, and does it campaign enough? But this one is a good thing. It's a damn good thing, actually, and I think it's absolutely right. Why is, if you know what VAT means, it's value added tax, and it's generally seen as a luxury tax. I can't remember the last time I thought that having electricity or water was a luxury. Yeah? A necessity, yes. A luxury? No. Your phone, you could say nowadays, it used to be a luxury to have a phone. Maybe people say that's a necessity, but you can see that. You can see clothes, yeah? You can see VAT, fashion, restaurants, we go out, I can see the VAT reason for that. I've never seen the reason for VAT on energy bills. And I think this is a damn good idea. In terms of energy efficiency, well, that is the real holy grail, because you can do what you like about trying to say, oh, we should be, buying the cheapest forms, we should have lots more renewable energy. Truth is, that's going to cost loads. Why not save money? Yes? I have an argument every night at home with Christina saying, do you know what? Put a jumper on. Don't turn the thermostat up. I've turned into my dad. That's exactly it. That's what he used to say. So, yes, we could be more energy efficient. And if we got breaks and sort of incentives to do it, why the heck not? Moving on, the second story is about our emissions targets, and this is about tech. So new energy tech could save us or get us halfway to the 2030 targets, says Centrica. Now, what they've looked at is things like battery storage, energy efficiency measures, on-site generation, la-da-da-da-da. And it says that if we looked at all the sort of kit that's out there, and if you implemented it, you could probably save around about sort of 11% in energy. That's equivalent to about 9 million tonnes of CO2 and get us quite a way towards our 2030 emissions target. Where? Well, obviously household, but retail. You think about the retail sector, how much energy we could save if we put in efficiency measures across that. And the technology is there now. So again, it's a damn good idea. We should not be looking at, now I'm not saying we shouldn't be looking at renewables. We should be looking at renewables for sure. We should be looking at new forms of energy for sure, like the fusion stuff I mentioned earlier. But the most important thing is, why are we using so much? You know, why don't we turn things off? That's an easy step for all of us to do. And if we can use bits of kit that are smart, because let's face it, we're all lazy gits, right? So if we had bits of kit that say, actually, I'm going to put the screen to sleep, I'm going to turn that off, you know, here's a valve on a radiator that means the radiator's not going to go on because it knows there's no one in the house. These sort of kits are brilliant things. And I think this technology driver will help us towards emissions reductions. And following on, the final section, final story in this section, also about emissions, is about cars. So you know the story, I think. When did it come out, Pri? I can't remember. It was about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, when they said the 2040 target for diesel cars.
Oh, longer than that.
Was it longer than that? Yeah, well, earlier this year, anyway. It was definitely this year. The government said, we want to stop petrol and diesel. And it's 2040. And I think France had it as well. I think a few European countries had it. Anyway. Well, a group of MPs sitting on the BEIS committee said, that ain't good enough. No. The target is vague and insufficient, said the MPs. We want it to be more direct. We want it to be 8 years earlier, in fact, 2032. And they say that is when they predict parity. So the cost of a petrol diesel car will be equal to the cost of an EV or a low emission car, they reckon, by 2032. Could well be a little bit earlier than that. And what this shows, the MP said is, we ran a story, I think it was last week, about the potential to cut, well, the government said it's going to cut support for sort of EVs, you know, the plug-in grants and things like that that we've had. In fact, pre-covered it last week, didn't you, in our little debate? And they didn't really give a date, did they? It was like kind of, it could happen very soon.
No, they gave date November.
November, yeah.
They said if the uptake has increased, will increase until that
We'll
point.
think it, yeah. So it could be as soon as next month that they do this. Now, the MP said that's the wrong thing to do because it's given a good stimulus and it's got people buying and looking into EVs and hybrid cars. So they believe that you should keep some of that support going and also develop more things to help battery technology. So there's something we've reported on called the Faraday Battery Challenge, which is a kind of government-funded thing to improve the science and the tech and the kit behind more and more efficient batteries. Because let's face it, if you want renewable power, you need to have it when it's there, and then when it's not there, you need to store it, and how do you store it? You need to store it in a battery, and all EVs will be running on batteries. So this is very important. So the MPs getting involved, well, does it really matter, 32 or 40? I don't think it's a big difference. I do think that the fact is, it's, as I've said, when you get to making a financial decision that's also green, rather than a green decision because you're rich, that's when we're going to get somewhere. Right now, the only people who can afford to buy EVs are loaded. Yeah, you've got to be loaded to buy one. But when it becomes as cheap to buy, or even cheaper to buy an electric or a hydrogen car as it does petrol and diesel, who'll buy petrol and diesel? You won't. That's the way to do it. So good on the MPs for sort of raising this, but really I don't think it makes much difference. That's it for this section. What are your thoughts? Get in touch. Use the old hashtag short fuse. Email us at fuse at Energy Live News. And now it is time for the banter box. He's bantering away, aren't you? My God, you look like you put makeup on.
Yeah, because I'm so handsome.
Did you put makeup on?
No,
or was that just
a bit of blusher?
Why have you taken off your glasses?
Because I don't like
No, you can't see. You're squinting now, you fool.
No, I can see. I just can't see the screen.
Oh,
I can see
God.
the camera. I can see you. I can see my notes.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
You revealed something really quite hideous just seconds before we went on air.
Did I?
Yeah, the little crater in your head, the 666 number.
Oh, yes. Yeah, my Siamese twin that's on the back of my head.
There's a film called
Semi-developed.
How to Get Ahead in Advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's his microphone? Oh, on his lap.
Yeah, what?
Such an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. Right.
I have a growth.
You have a growth. Talking of growth, you've grown a lot.
Green
this job.
growth.
Green growth. Green shoots are often eaten by cows. Do you like this?
No.
This is going well. And cows contribute to global warming.
Yeah.
So should we eat
do.
fewer cows?
Yes.
That's
or
the
no.
question.
It depends who you ask in Muswell Hill, which actually we went out and did.
No, not that bit. But you put the context first before they play the video.
Okay. Well, so Claire Perry. So it's not going so well this time, is
It
it?
really is not going so well. Don't play anything yet. Claire Perry, yes.
Yeah. So Claire Perry's told the BBC.
Who's Claire Perry?
Oh, they know who Claire Perry is. She's the keynote at Expo.
Well done. Our energy minister.
energy
Hold the
minister.
microphone. She keeps telling you.
At our energy minister.
Do you know what? Let me just do this right. Both of you and Pri, neither of you can do anything. You can't do two things at the same time.
Okay.
Right, get on with it.
Right, so Claire Perry has kind of disregarded her own government's suggestions, which are to reduce meat consumption.
Yes.
And the BBC basically interviewed her, as we have before. But this time it was the BBC, and basically she said that she doesn't really expect people across the country to cut down on their meat consumption. Because
What was her
that's
exact
asking
quote?
Too much of them.
It was a good quote.
Her exact quote was, "I like lots of local meat."
Local meat.
Don't we all, Claire?
Yes.
And then she said, "I don't think we should be in the business of prescribing to people how they should run their diets." And then she said that basically after a hard day at work,
Yes.
the average man wants to come home and have
A nice bit of beef.
steak and chips. Yep.
Steak and chips.
She said that, you should be entitled to do that.
Okay. So you went out and asked the good folk of the Muz.
Yeah, so I went out and said to the people in Muswell Hill, would you actually bother reducing your meat consumption for the sake of the environment? And
Cut a
you
cow,
can see.
save the climate. Let's see what they said.
Would you consider giving up meat for the environment?
Absolutely not.
And what would you do if the government tried to implement such a rule?
Vote against them at the next general election and they'd be out on their arses, and put that on camera.
Yes, I would. I'd also consider doing it for health, but yeah, that would be a good reason for doing it as well.
Do you worry about global warming?
I do, yeah. Not just for myself, but this is my son. I worry for his future as well as mine.
You need to change the diet. You need to change everything. I don't eat meat the last 8 years. And I still got nearly 20 stone. And meat, you're not supposed to, you are not designed to eat meat.
It's a concern actually, but sometimes I think a lot of people don't think about those stuff. Or they just don't care.
I gave up meat a few years ago. Cost of the environment and because we can't sustain meat eating.
I don't know if I could give up meat, but I'd cut down definitely if that would be a start. And yeah, I guess it's a test of your will really and your ability to change.
I know that the methane that the cows produce that it's causing havoc to the environment, but I do have sympathy for the farmers because I am a farmer, so it is a double-edged sword.
I think there's more evidence becoming available that this large-scale production of meat in the farming industry is causing problems for our environment, and I think it's important that we try to be more responsible about how we act as individuals.
Well, range of views there.
Yeah,
And
quite varied.
the older lady, when you watch this, if you're a podcaster, the older lady, she was a vegan.
A
She
very
was really
sweet old grandmother.
grandmother.
Yeah, she's cut out the meat basically because she thinks it's bad for her health, also
Good
bad
on
for the
her.
environment and cruel to the animals. But quickly going back, I think Muswell Hill, to be honest, there was a really surprising amount of people. I'd say 3/4 said they were either vegan, vegetarian, or had significantly cut down their meat consumption.
We so are up here in
But I think
Muswell
that
Hill.
is quite Muswell Hill
It
centric.
is. It's
so-
very Crouch End, Muswell Hill.
So
You wouldn't
be
get that in
interested-
Charlton, would you, Rob?
Yeah, I'd be
different.
interested to go somewhere else in London and see the
Plaistow?
difference.
Plaistow? What would be like in Plaistow?
Oh no, everyone eats chicken.
Everyone
They
eats
don't
chicken
even
and
know
chips.
what veganism is.
No. Well, let's be honest. I went vegan last year. I am sort of semi-vegan in the sense that...
You're an eco-warrior.
Yeah, I'm an eco. Well, no, I do it for my health. So, Robbo, you're sort of vegan now, aren't you? Sort of ish. Tia's a veggie. Freddie's a vegan, apart from Saturday and Sunday when he goes and does weird things. Anyway,
And I partake in the flesh.
and you've been a bit of a veggie in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, when I was younger.
Yeah. And my sister was. I mean, it does make sense to me because hang on, Pri's saying no. Pri is the only carnivore in this office. Aren't you, Pri?
No, Johnny eats the beef bagel every day.
I had a salt beef sandwich for lunch today, but last
How
night...
many emissions did that bit of beef produce?
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So Claire Perry basically says that a government that would tell a country to cut down on its meat consumption is essentially a nanny state.
Yes.
And she says, well, she doesn't outright say that you shouldn't cut down, but she says the main ways that the country should be doing it is reducing agricultural emissions. Would have
Yes.
thought that's related. But,
Well, so would I.
planting more trees and investing in carbon capture technologies, but as we all know, they're very expensive.
Okay, right. Well, here's my view on this. I do think we should be eating... I mean, hey, I'm a Hindu, so I don't believe in eating cows anyway, so let's start there. But pigs, chickens, sheepy bits, goaty bits, they should all be allowed to roam free. And this week, was it this week you found that story? Or was it Freddie found the story about the chicken nugget that was made from a chicken's feather?
Oh,
yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
in,
so the,
in vitro meat.
In
I believe
vitro
that's
meat,
called,
yeah. So if you could eat meat that meant the animal still lived, would you?
Yeah, I think that's better than... I watched a horrible one of these videos last night that tries to convince you not to eat meat, a slaughterhouse kind of video.
Yeah.
And I watched that last night, and it did make me realise, that's gross.
There's
But
a lot
I
of cruelty.
was hungry at lunch, so
No,
I had the
exactly.
salt beef bagel.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it was grown in a warehouse and it's just a big slab of cow
yeah.
beef, you know,
Yeah,
it's
so-
kind of a weird idea. But
No,
I'd
I think it's a good
rather-
idea.
I'd
And why
rather
do we
it.
have to kill so many animals?
Hmm.
That's my view. So we grow too many animals. So we've got too many cows on the planet. They shouldn't be there. They're producing tons of methane.
Cutting
Loads
down
of-
forests to make room for
yeah,
them.
cutting down forests. So
Yeah.
I think if we can change what we eat, and bear in mind, in the old days, people ate meat very occasionally, didn't they?
Sunday maybe.
Yeah, Sunday if you were
special
lucky,
occasion.
and it was very expensive. So I'm for this, but I mean, I do get why Claire's not telling people to because
It's
she
political
needs to be
suicide.
illiterate, but she's coming to Expo, so
Yeah.
you can ask her yourself.
Yeah, we can. Okay.
Moving on, your next story.
Yeah, also about saving the environment.
You're very green this week.
So yeah, my trousers are green. Everything's green. So these new wind turbines, basically, they are less powerful. But
Have we got
they're-
video of them? There we go.
Yeah, so they're less powerful, they're vertical, and they can actually be powered by the wind, so that's being powered by the natural wind.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it's in this video.
It looks like a really large version of swing ball.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to catch your hand in it, would you?
No, you wouldn't.
But yeah, you
If
can
you're
put them in the
listening,
middle of
it's
a
like
motorway.
yeah, it's like a rotating sort of set of blades.
Yeah.
And so what, you stick it in the middle of...
And so cars are spinning that as they drive
Ah.
past, and obviously they're using petrol to drive most of them. But
course.
this is, this is a byproduct of their motion. We can make renewable energy, and as cars go electric,
Yes.
it means those cars will be could be powered by these things. So it could
carbon
be.
footprint sensor, it says.
Yeah, so it
Interesting.
also has a carbon footprint sensor, an earthquake sensor.
How comes
solar
earthquake
powered.
is spelled... Earthquake, hang on, just go back. Is this their video, Rob? They spell earthquake without an H. It said earthquake. That's not good.
Maybe it's sensing earthquake.
Earthquake.
Hasn't found any yet.
If you're going to go to the trouble making a video, you would have thought you'd have spelt it right. Anyway, look, there's people walking past. They're funny looking things, aren't they?
I like them. Look at that. That's great.
So what the idea is, what are you going to use that power for?
I don't know. It could power the lights on the motorway.
Okay.
You know.
And where is it from? It looks like it was in East Europe or somewhere.
No, I'm not actually sure what country it's from, but the company
Because
is
you didn't
called-
look into it, did you? Pre will find out.
The company's called, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Devicitek. And it's got the catchy name Enlil, which really rolls off the tongue.
Enlil.
Yeah.
Do we know where they're from?
Devitech Enlil.
No. Hey, play the
from
video
it
again,
is-
Rob.
I think it's from Eastern Europe.
It's from East. It looks like it is. Look, I'm going to wait. Look, vertical axis wind turbine, Enlil. I do get it because it's got a little solar panel thing on the top as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so that powers the sensors.
And what they produce, how much do they say?
It produces 1 kilowatt. Yep, so that's enough to power 2 households each day.
2 households.
So it's not bad.
Just by the sort of wind tunnel effect as cars go by.
Yeah, and because it's so small, you could stick one on the roof of your house as well. So people have put them on the roof
So does
of
it work
blocks
with
of
any
flats.
form of wind?
Yeah, it does. I guess.
In this office, it'll do really well. Look, carbon footprint. Watch the next bit.
You
Look,
could
hang
put
on,
one
look.
behind each cow.
Wait,
couldn't you?
wait. Look, look at this. Earthquake. It's an earthquake.
You're pointing out the flaws in our own
No,
video.
no, I'm just, this is my...
I think it might be Turkey and the Netherlands.
Turkey and the Netherlands. Well, there you go.
But you could put one of those behind each cow at the beef farm
Yeah.
and use its emissions
Yes.
to power renewable energy.
So then you could eat it without any guilty conscience.
And you could even
Although you shouldn't eat cows. Yeah. Okay, and your last story.
cows are my favourite animal to eat. To be honest.
Yeah.
I'm offsetting your reduction. But in case you don't like
It's
eating
puja
cows,
right now. Hello, fellow Hindus. Yeah, it's a time for the holy Hindus and the holy cows.
You never eat beef?
No, of course I don't eat beef. It's outrageous. Tia agrees, don't you, Tia? Yeah. See? Tia loves it.
So, if you don't want to eat beef,
Yeah.
you can always eat potatoes.
Yes!
Isn't that right, Rob?
Isn't that right, Rob? All right there. Potatoes.
And
Spuds.
So, you know, okay, this is kind of just, we're linking things very vaguely here.
But go on.
So, potatoes can also be used for chip fat.
Okay.
And, chip fat, after you've used it for cooking various fuels,
I'm just looking at the picture. I
can
love
be
the picture.
used in container chips. Like
Go
that.
on, make us small, Rob. Make us small. Make us wee. No, make us small because we want to see. Look, now that's great. Imagine chips were that big. Wouldn't it be great?
It would be good.
Rob, can you move us
Skyscrapers.
towards the chips, please? Move us. There we go. Look, just imagine like I could reach for one of these chips. Like, hang on. Look. Oh, there are some giant chips.
Podcasters were in an ocean of
chips.
Of cholesterol. Okay, so basically,
You could bake them so they wouldn't be cholesterol.
still carb loading, isn't it?
Okay. Anyway, chip fat.
You wouldn't catch me eating like that. Yeah, so basically, this sea freight low carbon program called
Yes.
Good Shipping
I like it.
filled up a ship called the Samskip Endeavour with 22,000 litres of biodiesel.
Nice.
And the biodiesel in this case was chip oil or old chip fat. And yeah, so basically that produced less carbon dioxide, less carbon monoxide, less particulate matter, all the things that are said to be very bad for the environment. And the container ship saved more than 40 tonnes of carbon dioxide emissions, before it emptied its tank. So that's a big reduction just for one load of fuel.
And you don't have any wrappers afterwards.
No, you don't.
I like it. I like the picture actually. I think that's part of Robert's finest ever work.
Yeah,
Don't
and
you?
I think many people don't talk about it because most of us don't see it every day. But the shipping sector is actually one of the most polluting sectors, along with the aviation sector.
And eating cows.
That's all right. And yeah, it creates around 3% of global emissions every year, and they use the dirtiest fuels in these ships, heavy oils.
Heavy oils, but not in this one. Thank you, Jonathan. You've been amazing.
As always.
Should we pass on to your illustrious leader? She's been tweeting away this week, haven't you? Doing stuff. Have you said happy puja to everyone?
Happy puja.
Happy Durga Puja.
Happy Dasai, everyone, and happy TR.
Can we have we need a Nepalese bit every week. So we need something in Nepalese this week. I'm going to do this, all right? Please, Nepalese moment.
सबैलाई दसैँको धेरै धेरै शुभकामना होपफुली तपाईँहरू सबैजना
I should put English in
फ्यामिलीहरूसँग
there.
हुनुहुन्छ अनि राम्ररी मनाउनुहुन्छ यो दसैँ.
Excellent. Right, heat. We've done chip fat. Now we're going back to heat.
Yes,
So
heat.
you did very well at the conference, didn't you? Enjoyed it in the UK this
Yeah, it
week?
was good. Food was good. Well, that's why.
Yeah, Tia enjoyed it.
Tia came
She had her
along.
first free loading.
Yeah, no, but it was very packed. Lots of obviously people we've seen in the sector. We see quite often at our conference as well. Full house, and we'll be there again
At
in
the
2
QE2?
weeks' time at the QE2 for our conference.
Now, you met Lawrence, our pal Lawrence Slade, and
Yes,
you had
he
a chat
was.
about something interesting, because obviously there was the VAT story I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
but you found something else about heat.
Yeah, so it's about decarbonizing the heating sector. So I feel like this topic has come up so many times over the past few months or of the past year or so, but it seems like not much is being done in the sector, and the industry has been calling for government to support in decarbonizing heat and electrifying the industry. So when I asked Lawrence if the government was doing enough to tackle this issue and move it forward, and if not, what needs to be done, this is what he said.
Well, I think, again, looking at the reports that have come out in the last week or so, it's clear that we're not doing enough. And we've got to move faster. I think this is a cast iron opportunity for the UK to really set an example to the rest of the world that we are absolutely committed to decarbonising our economy. The power sector's done an awful lot so far in terms of decarbonisation, but heat is one of the great challenges, particularly in a country like the UK where we're so reliant on gas for our heating. So I think there are several things that need to happen. Certainly industry needs to be working in partnership with government. We need to acknowledge the fact that there aren't any silver bullets. So there'll be a variety of different solutions for different families, different property types, etc. But most importantly of all, we actually need to get going. And we need to get some large-scale trials actually underway and out in the market so we can really see what the impacts are on people and on the carbon situation in the UK. You can only do that by getting trials underway, and we've also got to be prepared to fail. Not everything we try is going to work. So, let's get innovation underway, let's get trials underway, let's learn from those trials and, try and do so in the most economically efficient way for families up and down the country.
Right.
We're talking about cows again, sorry.
As
Is
you
that
can
a
see, the
tear
trend is continuing with the tie, Lawrence's tie and
had cows. Anyway, so...
so definitely, I think what he says is absolutely correct. Innovation, we need more innovation in the sector. We've seen it with battery storage, with electric vehicles, and I think now it's time for the heat industry.
I totally agree. I think we've done stories.
For a change, we both agree.
It's shocking, isn't it? No, but heat, shut up, Johnny. Heat is always still gas. I've got gas. I bet you've got gas at home for heat.
Yep.
There you go. Ron
and
produces
electric
gas,
heat
Johnny.
is quite
We need those
expensive as
things.
well. So hopefully costs, with new innovation, the costs will come down.
And talking about costs, consumers are paying the cost for an energy company going under.
Yes, and that
Good
is,
one,
I don't know
isn't
how
it?
you say it, that was good.
Yeah.
Is it UCO Energy or UCO
Uzio,
Energy
isn't
or
it?
UZio
Uzio.
Energy? So
Anyway,
it's
whatever.
USIO Energy.
Uzio.
Has
Uzio.
ceased trading. So Ofgem announced that earlier this week. And it seems like it's the latest in a string of announcements where a lot
Smaller,
of companies,
particularly smaller
small
ones.
companies, have been going under. So we've had IRESA, which had very, very bad customer service, and that was one of the reasons as well. Ofgem said it can't continue. We had a company called Gen4U, and also a small business supplier. So these two were mostly on the domestic side, but we had a small business supplier called National Gas and Power as well, which went under. So this company, UCO Energy, sorry if I've got the pronunciation wrong.
Uzio, we think, yeah.
But I'd actually never heard of this company until I ran the story. This company has about 7,000, well, had about 7,000 customers in the domestic sector. So following a competitive process that Ofgem usually goes through, if any supplier goes under, it has picked First Utility to take on those customers.
So that at least the people will continue supply.
Yeah, so what happens when a company goes under? Some people, I think a lot of consumers are worried that their gas and electricity is suddenly going to stop. But that doesn't happen. They still continue to receive it. It's just the company going under. So Ofgem goes through a competitive tender process and just basically switches the supplier who's picked, switches the company over to their as them being the sole supplier for the customers.
Yep.
So these 7,000 customers were switched to First Utility today. It should be at some point today. And they've said that all the credit on their account will be honored, but these customers have been advised not to switch yet. So if they're worried about, again, going to another independent, smaller supplier and switching to a bigger company, what Ofgem has said is you shouldn't do this yet, because if you have any outstanding balances, that's going to be messed up.
Rectified, yeah.
So they'll be contacted by the new supplier in a couple of weeks' time, in the next few weeks. And then that's when customers are encouraged to switch.
These are things that are happening. We have a lot of energy companies, then you have fewer.
So I hope, I think it was earlier this year when Ofgem said it launched a review into these new entrants coming into market, because there's a lot of debate around how easy it is for new companies to just enter the energy market. So Ofgem said that maybe they'll try and make the financial side of things, check the financial.
And the customer service side as well,
and
isn't it?
customer service. Hopefully that'll get better.
And your final story?
Final story about people who rent.
People who rent.
There
we go.
Yeah, rent.
Is that the best picture we could find for rent? That's shocking.
No, make it smaller. It's actually a good picture that we edited.
Why? What have you done?
It's a door with a key, and you're renting it. You don't usually have nice pictures. It doesn't say rent anywhere.
Doesn't have pictures of people having to share a bathroom. Anyway, go ahead.
Right, so Renters. So what this new research has been launched, and what it found was that a lot of people who rent are paying the bill for previous tenants who live there. And that totals
Happened
to
me
about
years ago.
£102.
Wow.
And I think Robert said that happened to him, and Freddie said that happened to him as well yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Robert, how much did you have to pay?
Robert, how much did you have to pay?
Extra.
He doesn't think. He doesn't speak.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be a lot, but we're going to get it back.
Okay, that's good. So 102 on average is what they found. And with social housing tenants, it's even higher at £151 a year. And what this survey also found was that 70% of landlords actually don't inform their new tenants of the energy tariffs and the fact that they can switch.
Yeah.
1 in 4 also don't even tell them who their supplier is. And that's despite the fact that these tenants might actually be paying the bills and it might not be included as part of the rent. So this, which is one I found wasn't particularly good, is that 20% of landlords, they wrongly believe that they have the right to tell the tenants which supplier they should be on. Or
That's ridiculous.
And when they can switch, or if they can switch to someone else, regardless of whether they're paying the bills or not. And across regions, Sheffield was found to be the most aware, and in terms of the switching, in terms of them being able to switch. 61, they pay £61 a month, and that's in contrast to £80 a month paid by those renters in Bristol, who are said to be the least aware.
And what about London?
And listen to this, London,
is
they
the killer.
say could be at risk of overpaying up to £314 a year.
Oh my God.
So did you hear that, Robert?
£314. Think how many spuds you could buy with that, Rob. Be away. Be away. You could rent a cow as well for the day. It'd be brilliant.
And obviously, to balance out the story, I contacted the National Landlords Association, and they said landlords must ensure that they give as much information to tenants as possible. And when tenants want to transfer to a different customers, it should be part of the agreement, the tenancy agreement. And also they have a how to rent guide for landlords, which includes information on what they need to give to their renters. So
the lesson is, look at it, check your contracts, and remember you have the right to switch.
Make sure you ask, make sure you tell your landlords, ask them questions about whether you can switch and save money.
Fantastic as ever. Thank you so much.
And that is it. Thank you, and have a good weekend, and happy Dashay.
There you go. She didn't do her stories at Energy Live News bit, but I'll do that for her.
Oh, yes.
As soon as she forgot. Right, let's quickly go through what left of the show. So, coming up, dates for your diary. Robertos. There we go, 31st of October. Not long now for Expo with Claire Perry. Whether she'll be discussing beef or not, we'll know. She'll be coming along, talking to you, energy end users, and we've got about 400 view registers, which is brilliant. We've got room for probably about another 10 or 20. So if you want to get involved, get onto our website, go to the register here, you'll see it in the text, and get yourself registered for that. We've got our panel of CEOs speaking afterwards, and Rob's made a very nice graphic. There you go. 4 big cheeses that we've got coming along from EDF, ABB, SSE and Scottish Power. We'll be going through the whole gamut of what's happening post the Brexit negotiations, obviously, what that means for energy, energy security of supply, energy independence, and of course the technology that's there. And then 6th of December, it is the biggest boat party in the world. Tia can't wait for it. She'll be drinking loads of things, most of them illegal. You can get yourself along to that party. You'll be finding out who is being nominated, who's made the shortlist at Expo, but you can buy tickets for it right now, so don't miss out. Remember, the boat only holds 400. We will be packed. It'll be a boat that rocks. And talking about rocking, that's about it. Apart from any shout-outs, probably none, unless Kevin Corcoran's watching, but he's not. Loser. It's International Gin and Tonic Day. Oh my God, where on earth did you get that? The top picture's about the right one. That's pre. Now that's Tia and pre after one on a Friday night. So yes, if you like a G&T, enjoy it. And Indian tonic water, by the way. There you go. That's holy. There's no cows involved in that. Keep the cows cool. Have a lovely week. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.